Chapter 892. 10,000 Golden Light Kill Kill. Ji-mai roared as the inscriptions on his body shone even brighter. Even his eyes were filled with sword chi. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, his entire being seemed to have transformed into a killing formation. Endless sword light burst out from his body as if every inch of his skin could burst out with sword light. He was like a moving 7th grade formation, crushing towards Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded as the two 6th grade formations that Lu Ming had laid down were destroyed by Ji-mai in an instant. Lu Ming retreated quickly, his hands and feet not stopping at all as inscriptions continued to spread out. Wang. Another 6th grade formation appeared, but Ji-mai strode forward, destroying everything in his path. His sword chi was incomparably powerful. At this moment, Ji-mai's battle power was no weaker than a martial arts practitioner at the first level of Spirit Embryo Realm. The 6th grade formation was destroyed in a few breaths' time. Tianyan is going to lose. The 6th grade formation can't stop him at all. That's right. The time he took to inscribe the formations was less than the time Ji-mai took to destroy them. He's already at a disadvantage, and won't be able to hold on for much longer. It's a pity that Tianyan didn't make sufficient preparations before participating in the competition. Didn't you notice? He didn't prepare any puppets or inscription scrolls. That's true. If he had made sufficient preparations, he might have been able to fight. The others, such as the puppet faction, would have prepared many puppets before participating in the competition. The talisman faction would also inscribe many inscription scrolls, but Lu Ming didn't seem to have any. Lu Ming was indeed unprepared. He did have a few inscription scrolls, but the most powerful one was only at the 6th grade and 9th grade, so it wasn't very useful. Bam! Ji-mai destroyed yet another grade 6 grand formation. Tianyan, admit defeat. You're not my match. Ji-mai's voice rang out. Is that so? That's exactly what I wanted to say. At this moment, Lu Ming smiled faintly and suddenly stopped inscribing inscriptions. Many people in the surroundings were stunned. They didn't understand why Lu Ming suddenly stopped. From his words, it seemed that he wanted to tell Ji-mai to admit defeat. What was going on? This guy. The eyes of some senior figures at the domain enlightened spirit god realm flickered successively, and they seemed to have discerned something and were extremely surprised. Let's see what else you have up your sleeves. Ji-mai strode forward, charging towards Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming took a light step forward. Wang. On the fighting platform, a bright light shone as a huge array appeared. Amidst the resplendent light, countless pillars of fire rushed out. Pillars of fire intertwined with each other, forming a huge cage that trapped Ji-mai within. Sword light burst forth from Ji-mai's body, slashing at the pillars of fire. Intense rumbling sounds could be heard, but the pillars of fire remained motionless. He couldn't cut it. A 7th grade formation. Ji-mai's face paled. 7th level array formation. It's the 7th level array formation, Heavenly Flame Prison. Someone roared as he recognized the array formation. My God! When did Tianyan inscribe a 7th level array formation? He must have inscribed it when he was inscribing the 6th level array formation. Amazing too amazing. He actually inscribed a 7th level array formation, along with the 6th level array formation. He used those 6th level arrays to obstruct Ji-mai, and perfected the 7th level array formation step by step. It's too terrifying. Many people in the surroundings roared and were extremely shocked. It was already an extraordinary feat for a 6th level inscriber to be able to inscribe a 7th level array formation. However, Lu Ming had done it in the middle of a battle. He'd completed it step by step in a battle against a formidable opponent like Ji-mai in an extremely short amount of time. It was extremely shocking. This was the complete 7th level array formation, Heavenly Flame Prison. However, Ji-mai's array formation wasn't complete, so it was difficult for him to bring forth its full might. It was utterly impossible for him to break Lu Ming's array formation. What do you think, Ji-mai? Lu Ming stood outside the array formation as his voice sounded out. The light around Ji-mai's body dimmed as he let out a long sigh. I admit defeat. He knew that Lu Ming had shown him mercy. If Lu Ming had inscribed a 7th level killing array, he would have been defeated. The Heavenly Flame Prison was merely a trapping array to trap him. Thank you for letting me win. Lu Ming clasped his fists. Then, with a wave of his hand, the inscription disappeared and the fire pillar disappeared. Tianyun wins this battle, Meng Chong announced. Following Meng Chong's announcement, the square was in an uproar. Obviously, this result was completely out of everyone's expectations. Before the start of the competition, no one had expected this result. High up in the air, Bai Shijin stood up from his seat and pressed his hands in the air. All the voices in the square quieted down. Now this seat announces that the first place of this year's competition is Tianyun. Bai Shijin's voice was like a hurricane, spreading throughout the square. Tianyun, Tianyun. In a certain area, a group of beautiful women were screaming loudly, their faces flushed with excitement. Also, Tianyun is a candidate for Zongzi. Do you have any objections? Bai Shijin's voice was heard again. The square suddenly fell silent as all eyes gathered on Lu Ming again. Their eyes were a little complicated. Tianyun was such a genius. What objections could they have? This time, he had used his strength to prove himself. Not only was he a genius in martial arts, but even his inscription Dao was so terrifying. How many people in the world could be like him? Tianyun Zongzi. Suddenly, a loud shout resounded throughout the square. It was by Qi Shui. She raised her hand and shouted, Tianyun Zongzi. Tianyun Zongzi. In a certain area, a group of women screamed loudly. This time, the shouts were getting louder and louder, and gradually, the others, be it some young male disciples, some female disciples, or even some of the older generation, all began shouting Tianyun Zongzi's name loudly. Among the crowd, Rising Sun, Feng Tai, and the others had a complicated look. Before the competition, they were prepared to humiliate Lu Ming ruthlessly in the competition to get revenge for being beaten up by Lu Ming. However, what happened in the end? In the first 3 rounds of the competition, not only did they fail to humiliate Lu Ming, but they were also humiliated by Lu Ming. In the end, the halo around Lu Ming became even brighter and more dazzling. Compared to him, they were like fireflies. There was no way they could compete with him. Tianyun Zongzi. They smiled wryly and shouted along with the crowd in the end. Lu Ming looked around. At this moment, his eyes and heart were calm. He was well aware of his goal. Currently, he had only obtained the initial approval of the Talisman Puppet sect. However, it was only the initial stage. He still had a long way to go if he wanted to earn their support, especially the elders in the sky. His goal was to win the Battle of Luck. Coming first in the Battle of Luck was his goal. Chapter 893. In the sky, Bai Shijin's lips curled into a smile. This guy seems to think highly of Lu Ming. On the side, Du Songjue's eyes flashed. He knew that Bai Shijin was building momentum for Lu Ming, but he did not refute or stop him. All right. At this moment, Bai Shijin's voice was heard again, and the scene quieted down. Now I announce the results of this competition. First place, Tianyun. Second place, Jimai. Third place, Yin Tunghua. Bai Shijin announced, but then his tone changed and he said, originally, we planned to let 3 people enter the observatory this time, but because there are many geniuses this time and the quality is very high, and the Battle of Providence is near, the elders and I have decided to increase the number to 5. Other than Tianyun, Jimai, and Yin Tunghua, Mengjia and Hu Ming can also enter the sky observation platform. Alright, the competition is now over. You all can rest for a while and enter the sky observation platform tomorrow. As soon as Bai Shijin's voice fell, the competition ended. Mengjia and Hu Ming were naturally overjoyed. The others also looked at them enviously. Tianyun, I didn't know you were so powerful. Bai Qi Shui looked at Lu Ming curiously. Let's go. Lu Ming pulled Bai Qi Shui's little hand and flew in the direction of Cloud Peak residence. Because in one direction, a large group of young women was flocking towards Lu Ming. That momentum made Lu Ming run away. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, the two slowed down. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt that his hand was holding a soft and cold little hand. He turned his head and saw Bai Qi Shui looking at him with big eyes and a blush on her smiling face. Lu Ming hurriedly let go and said, Sorry, I was in a hurry just now. In a hurry, or taking advantage of me? Bai Qi Shui smiled. Lu Ming was embarrassed and coughed a few times. Why are you running so fast? Isn't it great to have so many beauties chasing after you? You must be secretly pleased with yourself, right? Bai Qi snow teased. No, I already have someone in my heart. Lu Ming smiled. Xian Yanqing's figure flashed in his mind. He wondered how she was doing. She should have returned to the central continent ancient sage dynasty. Oh, is that so? Hearing Lu Ming say that he already had someone in his heart, Bai Qi's snowy face slightly stiffened. A sliver of disappointment and sadness faintly appeared in her eyes, but it only lasted for a moment before a smile once again appeared on her face. She must be very beautiful to be able to catch your eye, right? Yes, very beautiful, Lu Ming said with a smile. Then he looked at Bai Qi Shui with a smile and teased. What? Don't tell me you've fallen for me? Go away, don't flatter yourself. Bai Qi Shui's face instantly turned red. Then, she glared at Lu Ming and said, You want me to fall for you? You're still far from it. If you're a genius like Lu Ming, then that's more likely. Cough, cough, cough. Lu Ming could not stop coughing. What's wrong with you? Bai Qi Shui asked. My throat is uncomfortable, nothing. Lu Ming spouted nonsense. No way, your martial Dao is so strong. How can your throat be uncomfortable? Bai Qi Shui was surprised. It's nothing, let's go back to Cloud Peak Residence first. Lu Ming changed the topic and walked towards Cloud Peak Residence. The next day, Lu Ming came to the top of a mountain. There was a huge altar at the top of the mountain. Ji Mai, Yan Tenghua, Meng Jia and Hu Ming were with him. In addition, Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and a few other founding elders were also there. Now we'll open the passage to the observatory. You guys can go and cultivate, but you only have a month. After a month, you'll be teleported back. So, during this month, you have to make the best use of your time to cultivate. Bai Shijin warned. Yes. Lu Ming and the others nodded. They knew in their hearts that to open the passage to the observatory and maintain it for a month, it would consume a lot of origin stones. Moreover, the more people entered, the more resources would be consumed. Therefore, the quota to enter the observatory was extremely precious. Before this, only 13 Zongzi candidates of this generation of youths had entered the Zongzi realm. In the past, only 3 people in each generation could enter because the consumption was too great. Now that it was the War of Fortune, and this generation was the Golden Age, more people were allowed to enter. Then Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and the 3 founding elders, a total of 5 people, surrounded the huge altar and began to inscribe inscriptions. Countless origin stones flew out of their hands and were devoured by the altar. Buzz. Moments later, the altar shone brightly as inscriptions intertwined. A huge vortex suddenly appeared above the altar. The passage is open, quickly enter. Bai Shijin shouted. Lu Ming's group of 5 did not dare to delay. They stepped onto the altar and rushed into the vortex. Of course, Dandan did not follow. Lu Ming threw him into the Cloud Peak residence. The world spun, and in the next moment, Lu Ming found himself standing on a platform. The platform floated in the air, about 2 meters wide. Lu Ming looked around and realized that he seemed to be in the middle of the universe. There was a boundless starry sky in all directions, and below him was also a vast starry sky. There was only one platform floating in the air. On the left and right sides, Lu Ming saw 2 platforms. Ji Mai, Meng Jia, and the other 3 were on one platform, looking around in amazement. In front of them was a vast river that seemed to cross the entire starry sky, stretching from one end of the universe to the other. This is the law of inscription. Lu Ming was shocked. This was not the first time he had seen the law of inscription. In the past, he had only seen it in a meditative state through the spiritual force cultivation method. But now, it seemed like he was very close to the law of inscription. With a single thought, he could feel the vast inscription energy in front of him. Lu Ming's spiritual force fire throbbed violently. Sky observation platform, as expected of the sky observation platform. He could actually observe the law of inscription at such a close distance. At such a close distance, how fast would he be able to absorb the inscription energy? At this time, Ji Mai's group of 4 was already sitting cross-legged, circulating their spiritual force cultivation method to absorb the inscription energy. Rich inscription energy continuously poured into Ji Mai's group, turning into 4 pillars of light that enveloped them. Such rich inscription energy! Lu Ming exclaimed. Without further delay, he also sat down cross-legged and circulated the underworld god observation method. Buzz! In an instant he felt a connection with the law of inscription. A resplendent pillar of light descended from the law of inscription, enveloping Lu Ming within. Ji Mai, Mingjia, and the other 3 opened their eyes, looking at Lu Ming in shock. They realized that the light pillar formed by Lu Ming's inscription energy was more than 10 times stronger than theirs. What kind of cultivation method is he practicing? Why is it so terrifying? The 4 were astounded. The spiritual force cultivation method they practiced was already the best in the Talisman Puppet sect, but Lu Ming's cultivation method seemed to be even more shocking than theirs. Chapter 894. Lu Ming had no other distractions. He focused on activating the underworld god visualization. He could feel that there was a constant influx of rich inscription power above his head, transforming into mental fire. The mental fire in his sea of consciousness was constantly strengthening. Lu Ming had already ignited 5 blue spirit lamps, and the 5th one had already reached its peak. The flames were intense. Now, not long after, Lu Ming's spiritual fire was growing stronger and stronger. Then the 6th spiritual lamp emitted a small blue flame. The 6th blue spiritual lamp was lit. Cultivating on the observation platform was too fast. It only took a few hours, which was comparable to half a month of cultivation for Lu Ming. Cultivation continued. Lu Ming could feel that his spiritual fire was growing stronger. Time passed day by day, and the 5 of them were immersed in cultivation. Not only them, but all the young geniuses and sky prides in the entire Eastern Wilderness, and even the entire Divine Wilderness continent were immersed in cultivation. The Battle of Providence was approaching, and everyone was doing their best to improve their strength. As for the various major forces, they had also opened up a lot of resources. Everyone was improving rapidly. Especially the sky prides who were ranked at the top, their improvement was even more shocking. The strong were getting stronger. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Lu Ming opened his eyes and ended his cultivation. The other 4 also stopped cultivating and opened their eyes. Everyone's eyes were filled with joy and satisfaction. Obviously, they had all made great progress in the past month. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he found that 9 blue spiritual lamps were burning fiercely in his sea of consciousness. His spiritual power was surging and exuberant. In a month, a total of 4 spiritual lamps had been lit, which was really shocking. One had to know that it was very difficult to light up after 6 lamps for each level. He wondered what Ji Mai and the others had achieved, but he guessed that they must have gained a lot. At this moment, a strong tearing force pulled the 5 of them. In an instant, the 5 of them disappeared, and the platform they were sitting on disappeared without a trace. Buzz! With a flash of light, he found himself back on the altar. Bai Shijin and the others were standing around him. All right, it's been a month. I'm sure you've all gained a lot. Go back and digest it. Bai Shijin said with a smile. Subsequently, Lu Ming and the others bid their farewells to Bai Shijin's group and returned to their respective homes. Lu Ming returned to Cloud Peak residence and discovered that in the courtyard, Bai Qi Snow was inscribing inscription symbols. After a while, Bai Qi finished carving and found Lu Ming. How is it? You must have gained a lot from your trip to the Sky Observatory. Bai Qi Snow revealed a hint of envy. Which disciple of the Talisman Puppet sect wasn't envious of being able to enter the Sky Observation platform? It's all right. Do you have any questions about your cultivation during this period? Lu Ming said. Yes, Master has been very busy recently and has no time to guide me. I can only rely on you. Bai Qi Snow giggled and immediately voiced out some of her doubts. Lu Ming muttered to himself for a moment before explaining his understanding. The 2 of them began to discuss. A few hours later, Lu Ming returned to his room and began to think about the direction of his cultivation. There were only 3 months left before the Battle of Providence. Right now his path of inscription and refinement had already reached a sufficiently high level. It was very difficult for him to improve greatly within a short period of time. In the remaining time, Lu Ming had to spend all his efforts on martial arts. I need to find a place with many demonic beasts. I can hunt them and devour their blood essence to improve my bloodline. I can also borrow the power of the demonic beasts to temper my intent realm and comprehend martial arts techniques. Lu Ming pondered. Then he took out a portion of demonic beast blood essence and began to devour and refine it. The last time he bought a batch of blood essence, he had not refined it yet. This time, he used all of it to improve the 9 dragons bloodline. After the 9 dragons bloodline awakened the 9 dragon claws, the amount of blood essence required was shockingly high. After refining 50 portions of level 6 7th tier demonic beast blood essence and 50 portions of level 6 8th tier demonic beast blood essence, the 9 dragons bloodline only improved by 1 level to level 2 of the divine level. After the 9 dragons bloodline leveled up, another dragon force was born in his bloodline. There were a total of 2 dragon forces. At this time, 3 days had passed. 3 days later, Lu Ming walked out of his room and asked Bai Qi Shui if there was a suitable place to cultivate. Bai Qi Shui pondered for a moment and indeed thought of a suitable place. The Ferocious Beast's Secret Realm. This was a secret realm controlled by the Talisman Puppet Sect. It was considered a mid-sized realm. There were primeval forests everywhere, nurturing countless demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were very primitive. They might not have come into contact with humans, so they could not speak human language and could not transform into human form. They retained their most primitive beast form. This was undoubtedly very suitable for Lu Ming to cultivate. Lu Ming bade farewell to Bai Qi Shui and headed for the entrance of the Ferocious Beast's secret realm. There were many people at the entrance. Many disciples of the Talisman Puppet Sect, and even the older generation entered to hunt demonic beasts. After all, an inscription master required various materials. In the Ferocious Beast's secret realm, not only could one obtain materials from killing demonic beasts, one could also obtain blood essence. Tianyun, it's Tianyun Zongzi. Tianyun Zongzi. When Lu Ming arrived, many people hurriedly greeted Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. With Lu Ming's identity, it was natural for him to enter the Ferocious Beast's secret realm. What came into view was an endless mountain range and an endless forest. The roars of demonic beasts could be heard from afar. It was a wild scene. Haha, this is a good place. It's very primitive. It should be a secret realm that has just been developed. I can smell the fragrance of countless spiritual herbs. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder. Her breasts were contracting and her small eyes were shining. In the surroundings, people flew forward continuously, disappearing into the desolate mountain. Let's go. Lu Ming stepped into the air and flew towards the wild mountains. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to fly deeper. According to Bai Qi Shui's introduction, the Ferocious Beast Mystic Realm was indeed a mystic realm that the Talisman Puppet Sect had discovered not long ago. It had not been 10 years, and there was limited development. The deeper he went, the stronger the strength of the demonic beasts. There were even many existences above the spiritual embryo realm. Soon, Lu Ming was 1,000,000 miles deep. He could already see the figures of others here. Roar! A giant lizard that was 7 to 8 meters tall and more than 30 meters long rushed out from the forest and pounced towards Lu Ming. A ferocious aura spread and emitted a powerful aura. Peak 9th level spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming smiled and condensed a long spear in his hand. With a swing, the long spear shot out with 4 types of realm of heaven and earth surrounding it. Poochie. The long spear directly pierced through the head of the giant lizard, leaving a bowl-sized bloody hole. The giant lizard roared and its huge body smashed heavily into the forest, crushing a large area of ancient trees. Roar. The 9 dragons bloodline appeared and opened its mouth, aiming at the giant lizard. A terrifying devouring force erupted. Chapter 895. Under the devouring of the 9 dragons bloodline, the giant lizard's corpse shriveled at a speed visible to the naked eye. In a few breaths, the giant lizard turned into a dried skeleton. All of its blood essence, demonic energy, and life essence were devoured and robbed by the 9 dragons bloodline. Lu Ming felt that there were various kinds of energy in the 9 dragons bloodline. How could this be? It actually devoured all of the energy of a giant lizard. This is too overbearing. Could it be because of the complete awakening of the 9 dragons bloodline? Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Since his 9 dragons bloodline was promoted to the divine grade and transformed into the 9 claws form, this was the first time he devoured a demonic beast's corpse. Previously, he only bought blood essence and devoured it. Previously, he only felt that the devouring power of the 9 dragons bloodline had greatly increased, but he did not expect it to be so overbearing. Lu Ming, it seems that you have fully displayed the 9 dragons' talent, Dandan said. The 9 dragons' talent? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, the 9 dragons' strongest talent is to devour everything. All kinds of energy will be devoured and turned into one's own. It is extremely terrifying. Dandan explained. Devour everything and turn it into one's own. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Immediately, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and began to refine the bloodline. All kinds of energy in the 9 dragons bloodline began to be refined by Lu Ming. Among them, the blood essence was still turned into bloodline power and absorbed by the 9 dragons bloodline. The other kinds of energy such as blood essence, life essence, and demonic energy were all refined into true yuan and poured into Lu Ming's spirit sea. Immediately, Lu Ming's true yuan increased by a little. After a while, Lu Ming opened his eyes, revealing a look of pleasant surprise. This was too overbearing. The other kinds of energy were all turned into true yuan and blood essence to enhance the bloodline power. Not a single bit was wasted. In this way, wouldn't he even save on the ores when he cultivated in the future? Haha, I didn't expect the complete awakening of the 9 dragons bloodline to have such a heaven-defying ability. Let's try hunting demonic beasts again. Lu Ming was overjoyed. His figure flickered as he began to hunt for demonic beasts. After killing several demonic beasts in a row, the result was the same. Whether it was their blood essence, demonic chi, or life essence, they were all devoured by the 9 dragons bloodline and turned into his own energy. Amazing! If I wasn't trapped by the concept of heaven and earth, my cultivation would simply advance by leaps and bounds. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before continuing onward, searching for powerful demonic beasts to hunt. Not long after, they went a few 100,000 miles deeper. Roar! With a loud roar, space trembled as a giant staff smashed toward Lu Ming. No, it wasn't a giant stick. It was the trunk of a giant elephant. This mammoth was as big as a mountain and covered in fur. When it swung its trunk, space trembled, causing Lu Ming to feel immense pressure. Level 7 Demon Beast. This was a 7th grade demonic beast that was equivalent to the spirit embryo realm. Roar. The sound of a dragon's roar could be heard, and Lu Ming instantly unleashed a surge of dragon power. Dense scales appeared on Lu Ming's skin. Boom. With a punch, he circulated the suppressing Hell Heaven skill. When the fist and the mammoth's trunk collided, an earth-shattering boom erupted. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging toward him as his body involuntarily flew backward. However, the mammoth's trunk was also sent flying by him. The mammoth's roar was earth-shattering. Level 1 of Level 7. It's equivalent to Level 1 of Spirit Embryo Realm. I can fight it. Lu Ming stopped in midair as his eyes shone brightly. This mammoth had immense strength, but it wasn't ridiculously strong. Lu Ming could fight it. Swoosh. Lu Ming executed the 9 dragons' heaven-trampling steps and rushed toward the mammoth like a stream of light. The mammoth roared and swung its trunk at an astonishing speed, whipping toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body shifted as he continuously changed his position in midair. He successfully dodged the mammoth's attack and appeared on top of its head, stomping down on it. Bam! With this stomp, Lu Ming unleashed all his strength and the suppressing Hell Heaven skill to the extreme. It was equivalent to an upper-grade half-god martial technique. With Lu Ming's stomp, it landed on the mammoth's head. Boom! With a violent roar, the mammoth's head caved in, accompanied by the sound of bones breaking. Roar! The mammoth wailed and whipped its trunk wildly at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body moved and flew up into the sky. What a strong defense! Lu Ming exhaled deeply with a grave look in his eyes. This mammoth's defense was terrifyingly strong. Under his all-out attack, a 10,000-meter-tall mountain would crumble in an instant. It could sink the ground within a 100-mile radius. However, when it landed on the mammoth's head, it didn't instantly kill it. The mammoth roared and its eyes were bloodthirsty as it charged toward Lu Ming crazily. As it stepped on the ground cracked and countless ancient trees collapsed. It was a scene of doomsday. Whoosh! The mammoth swung its trunk and a gale swept up. A huge gully appeared on the ground as if a valley had appeared out of nowhere. Lu Ming took a step and dodged the mammoth's trunk before rushing toward its head. This mammoth had boundless strength and astonishing defense. However, its weakness was that it was relatively slow. However, its speed was slow compared to Lu Ming. If it was any other person in the spiritual ocean realm, they would have been smashed into pieces by the mammoth's trunk. Lu Ming appeared on the mammoth's head and stepped out once again. The moment he stepped out, a dragon's roar rang out as Lu Ming exploded with another burst of dragon force. With the two bursts of dragon force in his body exploding, Lu Ming's attack power reached an astonishing level. Bam! This time, the mammoth's head exploded and a huge hole appeared. The mammoth wailed and fell to the ground. Not long after, it stopped breathing. A mammoth that was equivalent to the first level of spirit embryo realm was killed by Lu Ming. Whoosh! Lu Ming let out a breath and felt that there was only half of his vital essence left in his body. He revealed a bitter smile. Hell-suppressing heaven skill, when used at full power, exhausted a terrifying amount of vital essence. Just 2 strikes and half of the vital essence in his body had been extracted. My battle power on the martial path isn't any weaker than a martial arts practitioner at the first level of spirit embryo realm. Of course, that's only compared to normal martial arts practitioners. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. The reason why he was able to kill the giant elephant in 2 moves was mainly because the speed of the concrete elephant was relatively slow. That was why he was able to hit its vital points twice in a row. If it had been someone else with faster speed, it would not have been so easy to kill it. Lu Ming was very clear about this point. Devour. Lu Ming controlled the 9 dragons' bloodline, and the power of devouring burst out, enveloping the mammoth. The mammoth's body that was as big as a mountain started to shrivel rapidly. What astonishing energy! Find a place to refine it. After devouring the mammoth's energy, Lu Ming's figure flashed and found a cave. He laid down a formation and started to refine it. Whoosh whoosh, billowing energy continuously poured into Lu Ming's body. The vital essence that he had expended was quickly recovered, but the energy was still pouring in continuously. It's too dense. I'm stuck at the concept and my cultivation can't break through. What should I do? Chapter 896. Physical body. Yes, let's try my physical body. Suddenly, Lu Ming had an idea. His physical body had been stuck at the peak of grade 7 for a long time, and he had been neglecting his cultivation. Now was a good time to try and see if the energy could improve his physical body. Whoosh whoosh, Lu Ming activated the myriad spirit battle body. Suddenly, the energy seemed to have found a vent and seeped into his physical body. Lu Ming's physical body began to wriggle and expand, and his bones made cracking sounds. Lu Ming could clearly feel that his physical body was becoming stronger and stronger at a rapid pace. It was beginning to improve. Half an hour later, the energy of the giant elephant was completely refined. Grade 8 physical body. Lu Ming smiled. As expected, the energy he devoured could also improve his physical body. How much should he save in the future? In the future, he could use the resources to buy other things, such as spiritual liquid and cultivating the tree of enlightenment. Lu Ming was about to laugh out loud. Legend has it that one of the basic conditions to break through to the martial emperor realm is to have a body at the peak of grade 9. Lu Ming had an idea. Many spiritual god realm experts would try their best to cultivate their physical body, because it was impossible to break through to the martial emperor realm without a body at the peak of grade 9. Of course, Lu Ming was still far away from that. Now was not the time to think about it. It was enough to improve his physical body. The 9 dragons' bloodline did not improve. After refining the blood essence of the giant elephant, the 9 dragons' bloodline did not improve. It was the blood essence of a grade 7 demonic beast. Now Lu Ming needed a huge amount of blood essence to improve his bloodline. If he were to buy it, he would not be able to afford it. Then Lu Ming waved his hand, and the tree of enlightenment appeared. Lu Ming sat in front of the tree of enlightenment, and began to comprehend the realm of heaven and earth. Just like that, Lu Ming began his days of hard cultivation in the ferocious beast forest. Once he had an inspiration, he would stop cultivating. After a few days of cultivation, he would go hunting demonic beasts to hone his martial skills. The dandan would wander around the mountains in search of spiritual herbs. Time flew by in a blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 2 months and 20 days since Lu Ming entered the vicious beast's secret realm. There were only 10 days left before the Battle of Providence. Crash. A figure flew out of a clear lake and stood on the shore. Then he sent out his quintessence, and not a single drop of water remained on his body. Then he changed into a blue close-fitting robe. Suddenly, an elegant and graceful young master appeared on the shore. This person was, of course, Lu Ming, who had been cultivating in the ferocious beast's secret realm for nearly 3 months. Now Lu Ming was already 22 years old. His face was chiseled, and he was much more mature than before. He looked even more determined. It's time to go out. The Battle of Providence is finally coming. Lu Ming clenched his fists and felt the surging energy in his body. His eyes revealed a trace of anticipation. Dandan landed on Lu Ming's shoulder. Its mouth was filled with the fragrance of herbs. It said, "Haha, this seat has recovered a little. When this seat recovers a little more, watch how I'll torture those so-called outstanding talents. Also, that martial monarch DE will be blown to death by this seat." Dandan even burped as it spoke. During this period of time, this fellow had found many high-grade spiritual herbs. He had been eating spiritual herbs every day and had been living a very comfortable life. Whoosh! Then Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and headed for the exit of the ferocious beast forest. When Lu Ming came out of the ferocious beast forest, his expression changed. He took out a voice transmission jade talisman. "Fatty is here. I nearly forgot." Lu Ming smiled. The moment he came out, he received a message from Fatty. It looked like he was blocked in the secret realm earlier. Immediately, Lu Ming flew out of the Yin and Yang mountain. At the edge of the Yin and Yang mountain, there was a huge array platform. This place was guarded by the experts of the Yin and Yang mountain, who kept the array running smoothly at all times. "Seniors." Lu Ming clasped his fists. "Oh, it's Tianyan Zongzi. Are you going out?" An old man opened his eyes and said, "I have a few friends who are participating in the Battle of Providence. I want to bring them in." Lu Ming arrived. "All right, take this token with you. You can freely enter and exit the Great Formation of the Two Elements Mountain. However, this token has restrictions. At most, you can bring in strong practitioners of the Spirit Embryo realm. Stronger practitioners will be blocked." A token flew out of the old man's hand, and Lu Ming caught it. "Thank you, senior." Lu Ming thanked him and stepped out. When he walked out of the Yin Yang mountain, there was suddenly a layer of ripples in the space that was originally normal. Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped out. He flew forward and came to a small city thousands of miles away. He saw Fatty and of course Wan Tingting. "Lu Ming, I finally see you. We arrived 5 days ago and have been sending you messages, but there was no news." Fatty laughed when he saw Lu Ming. He wanted to give Lu Ming a bear hug, but he was almost kicked out by Lu Ming. "Lu Ming." Wan Tingting walked over and greeted him with a smile. "Tingting." Lu Ming nodded with a smile. He realized that both Fatty and Wan Tingting's auras were much stronger than before. They were much stronger than they were half a year ago. This was especially so for the Fatty. Lu Ming could sense a terrifying aura from him. This aura was hidden in the depths of the Fatty's body. Lu Ming could also sense a trace of it with his sensitive spiritual senses. This aura seemed to be able to destroy everything and was extremely sharp. It seemed that both Fatty and Wan Tingting had made great progress under the guidance of the demonic Sky Divine Emperor. After all, they were taught by the Divine Emperor himself. How many people in the world could do that? "Fatty, you've awakened your third bloodline?" Lu Ming asked. "Yes, I've awakened it." "Hee Lu Ming, I'm not afraid of you now." Fatty grinned. "Oh, what level is it?" Lu Ming asked. "It's a secret now. When the Battle of Providence starts, I promise you'll be shocked." Fatty chuckled with a mysterious look. "Go away," Wan Tingting said with disdain. Lu Ming also pointed his middle finger at Fatty. Tingting, you've also awakened a divine bloodline, right? Lu Ming looked at Ruan Tingting. He could also feel a powerful aura from Ruan Tingting's body. Yes, I was lucky enough to awaken it with the help of Senior Demonic Sky. 3rd level divine bloodline. Ruan Tingting said. And then a trace of aura flashed from her body. 7th level of the spiritual sea realm. Ruan Tingting's cultivation had actually reached the 7th level of the spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The demonic sky divine emperor's methods were indeed unpredictable. In just half a year, not only did Ruan Tingting successfully awaken a 3rd level divine bloodline, but her cultivation also broke through to the 7th level of the spiritual sea realm. Half a year ago, Ruan Tingting's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. The speed of her progress could be said to be extremely shocking. This was the method of the divine emperor. It was difficult to predict. Chapter 897. Lu Ming was happy for them. After all, they were friends. Let's go to Liangyi Mountain, Lu Ming said. Then, the 3 of them headed towards Liangyi Mountain. They arrived at Liangyi Mountain after a while. With Lu Ming's token, the 3 of them entered Liangyi Mountain easily. Lu Ming returned to the array platform and returned the token to the old man. Then he flew towards Yin Peak residence with Fatty and Ruan Tingting. Hey, you're keeping a mistress in your house. As soon as they arrived at Yin Peak residence, Fatty yelled when he saw Bai Qi Shui. He did not call Lu Ming by his real name as he knew that Lu Ming was using a fake name. Get lost. Lu Ming lifted his leg and kicked. Bai Qi Shui's face turned red. Fatty was stunned when he saw Bai Qi Shui's shy expression. Then he looked at Lu Ming with admiration and said, Brother, I'm impressed. I really admire you. You have beautiful women accompanying you wherever you go, and you're even living together. But you're too much of a playboy. How can I be worthy of Miss Xia? Look at me. I'm so devoted. I only have Tingting in my heart. After saying that, he blinked his small eyes and looked at Ruan Tingting ingratiatingly. Get lost. Go away. Ruan Tingting said in disdain. Lu Ming gave a flying kick and the fatty's fat body was sent flying. He landed on his face like a dog eating shit. Qi Shui, these 2 are my friends, Fatty Kong Jin and Ruan Tingting. Lu Ming introduced them to Bai Qi Shui. They were all young people, so they got familiar with each other after playing around for a while. Lu Ming arranged a courtyard for Fatty and Ruan Tingting on a mountain peak near Yin Peak residence. Liangyi Mountain became lively in the following days. The Battle of Providence was approaching. Almost all the elites had come out of seclusion and adjusted their mentality to prepare for the Battle of Providence. Even the other 13 Zongzi candidates had come out of seclusion. Days passed. 2 days before the Battle of Providence began, Bai Shijin sent someone to invite Lu Ming to meet him. When Lu Ming arrived at the Talisman Puppet Sect's meeting hall, he noticed that Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, Ming Chong, and other eminent elders of the Talisman Puppet Sect were all present. In the middle of the hall, there were 13 youths. There were both men and women among the 13 youths, and all of them had extraordinary bearings. It was obvious that they were giants among men. As soon as Lu Ming entered, the gazes of the 13 young men and women all turned to look at Lu Ming. Some were curious, some were peaceful, some were friendly, and some were not. They should be the other 13 Zongzi candidates. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he curiously sized up the other party. These 13 people were ranked in the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents. Every one of them was extraordinary and stood at the peak of the eastern wilderness and the endless domain. Tianyun, you're here? Bai Shijin said with a smile. Tianyun pays his respects to the seniors. Lu Ming bowed in front of the mountain. Well, get to know each other. He's Tianyun. Bai Shijin nodded. Junior brother Tianyun, I've heard a lot about you. A young man stepped forward with a gentle smile on his face. This young man had a head of silver hair that cascaded down to his waist. He was very handsome and always had a gentle smile on his face, which made it easy for people to have a good impression of him. A mysterious aura was emitted from his body all along, as if he was not a mortal and did not belong to the mortal world. The strangest thing was his eyes. His eyes were silver in color, and they were double pupils. Each of his eyes had double pupils, making him look incomparably sinister. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he thought of someone. Silver-haired Heavenly Eyes Illusion. He was ranked 8th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and the only genius from the Talisman Puppet sect to make it to the top 10. He was known as a peerless genius and the top inscriptionist among the younger generation in the Eastern Wilderness. He was extremely talented, and it was said that his heavenly eyes could see through all formations and inscriptions. It was extremely magical. Cough, cough, cough. Before Lu Ming could speak, Bai Shijin coughed and said, Huanjin, don't call Tianyin Jr. brother. You can call each other by their names. Ah. Huanjun and the other Sky Prides looked at Bai Shijin in surprise. Bai Shijin's face was slightly red, and the other founding elders were a little embarrassed. Lu Ming was amused. He understood what Bai Shijin and the rest meant. Lu Ming was his master. He was Liansong and his seniority was very high. Even Bai Shijin had to address him as martial uncle. But now, Huanjun called Lu Ming Jr. brother. Wasn't that taking advantage of Bai Shijin? He knew Lu Ming well, but Huanjun and the others did not. They all looked at each other. Well, you young people get to know each other quickly. Let's talk about business. Bai Shijin coughed and changed the topic. The Battle of Providence is about to begin. But you should know that our Talisman Puppet sect is the weakest among the 4 superpowers in the Eastern Wilderness. The number of geniuses is decreasing year by year, while the other superpowers such as the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect are getting stronger and stronger. In the past 1,000 years, my Talisman Puppet sect has always been at the bottom in every battle of Providence and has been ruthlessly suppressed. The amount of Providence we obtain has become increasingly less, and the strength of our sect has also become increasingly weaker. Therefore, this time, the first thing you must do is to be united and not fight amongst yourselves. Your strength is already weak to begin with. If you still fight amongst yourselves, the final result is very likely to be complete annihilation. Bai Shijin's eyes were bright as he warned them seriously. We will remember. Huanjun, Lu Ming, and the others solemnly replied. Yes. Bai Shijin nodded his head in satisfaction and continued. The Battle of Providence occurs once every 20 years, but the area you enter each time is different. It is truly incomparably mysterious, but there is a common point. Every time there is a great opportunity, and when you obtain the opportunity, you will also obtain providence. This is your chance. If you can obtain a great opportunity, you may be able to suppress the geniuses of your generation, dominate the Eastern Wilderness, and lead the Talisman Puppet sect to rise. Bai Shijin's voice was filled with temptation, causing all the young people present to clench their fists tightly, filled with anticipation. However, Bai Shijin's voice immediately changed as he said, however, the Battle of Providence is also known as the burial ground of geniuses. Every time, there will be a large number of geniuses who will die in it. However, this world is so cruel. The strong will become stronger, and the weak will only be stepped on. So you must be mentally prepared. However, the 14 people including Lu Ming all had resolute gazes and did not waver. They were all peerless geniuses. Since they had embarked on the path of cultivation, they would bravely advance until they reached the peak. There was no reason for them to retreat. They were filled with confidence in themselves. Good. It's good that you are confident. Du Songjue, who had not spoken until now, opened his mouth. I have one more thing to tell all of you. Du Songjue pondered for a moment and continued. Master Liao Tsong once said that the world we are in is called the Yuan realm. The Yuan realm is vast and boundless, and no one knows how wide it is. Not to mention Emperor realm experts, even those stronger than that do not know its boundaries. Chapter 898. Du Songjue's words caused the hearts of the young people present to tremble, and they were all dumbstruck. Our divine wilderness continent is just a drop in the ocean. There are many other continents like the divine wilderness continent overseas, and some are even hundreds or thousands of times bigger than the divine wilderness continent. A young man exclaimed, his eyes wide and mouth agape. Huanjun and the others were the same. They were too shocked. In the past, they thought that the divine wilderness continent was the center of the world. Although they knew that there might be other continents overseas, they thought that having 2 or 3 similar continents was already shocking enough. But Du Songjue used the word many, and the fact that there were hundreds or thousands of times bigger than the Divine Wilderness continent was unbelievable. The Divine Wilderness continent was vast and boundless. There were hundreds of regions in the Eastern Wilderness. It was vast and boundless. The Southern Underworld, the Northern Plains, and the Western Desert were also vast and not smaller than the Eastern Wilderness. The Middle Continent was said to be even more vast and full of outstanding people. There were so many other continents overseas. Everyone was stunned. Right now, Lu Ming was the only one who was slightly better. The mid-autumn moon might have been taken away by people overseas. He had once entered a small island in the heavenly realm by chance and widened his horizons. He knew that the world was vast beyond his imagination. That's right. If you're not an emperor, it's difficult to leave the Divine Wilderness continent and go overseas, so we don't know. Master Liao Tsang once said that the War of Providence doesn't only involve the Divine Wilderness continent. According to Master, the entire Yuan realm and other continents will have a War of Providence. Du Songjue said again. This time, even Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Not only the Divine Wilderness continent, but also the other continents overseas would have a War of Providence. That was too shocking. What was the reason for it? How could it be carried out in such a vast area at the same time? Or rather, were the Wars of Providence all connected? Was it the natural operation of the heavenly Tao? Or was it controlled by someone? If it was controlled by someone who had such terrifying power to control the vast territory of the Yuan realm at the same time. At that moment, Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. Master once said that if you stand out in the War of Providence and achieve a certain result, you'll have unexpected gains. Du Songjue said. A certain result? What result? Lu Ming and the others were surprised. This I don't know either. Master didn't explain it in detail back then, but it seems like it's extremely difficult to reach that standard. In short, you just have to do your best. Alright, I've said what I needed to say. You can go now. Prepare yourself. Lu Ming, Huanzhan, and the rest nodded and left the hall. After Lu Ming left the main hall, he flew directly to Baibao Pavilion to purchase some items before returning to Cloud Peak Residence. Big Brother Yan. Near Cloud Peak Residence, Lu saw Yin Yan. And, after not seeing each other for half a year, Yin Kuangtu finally appeared. Yin Kuangtu smiled. At this moment, Yin Kuangtu's body flashed, and the figure of Supreme Nine Suns appeared. Lu Ming bowed. He was happy for Supreme Nine Suns. Lu Ming, how's the preparation for the War of Providence? Supreme Nine Suns smiled. It's going well. Lu Ming nodded. Yes, with your current cultivation and combat strength, it's still very difficult for you to stand out. However, the Battle of Providence will last for a year. That's enough time for you to rise up. Therefore, you have to make good use of this year's time. Only then will you be able to surpass everyone else in the Battle of Providence. Supreme Nine Suns said. For example, Supreme Nine Suns and Yin Kuangtu had participated in the War of Providence back then, and obtained great opportunities. Lu Ming nodded seriously. He knew that his current battle strength and cultivation were more than enough to deal with ordinary sky prides. However, there was still a gap between him and the top 100 geniuses on the list of 1,000 geniuses. Lu Ming, we just came back to see you. We won't see you off in the War of Providence. Master's recovery has reached a critical moment. We'll set off again soon and leave Yinyang Mountain. Yin Kuangtu said. There's no need to see me off. Senior Nine Suns' recovery is more important. Lu Ming nodded quickly. Then the three of them chatted for a while. Supreme Nine Suns and Yin Kuangtu mainly talked about their experiences in the War of Providence, hoping that it would be helpful to Lu Ming. They chatted for 2 hours before Yin Kuangtu and Supreme Nine Suns left. Lu Ming returned to Yin Peak Residence. Time flew by. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. The War of Providence finally arrived. There was a huge boulder behind Yinyang Mountain. On the boulder, there was a huge round stone covered with mysterious carvings. The stone gave off a heavy and ancient feeling. In the past, this place was forbidden to the Talisman Puppet sect. Other than some elders, Ordinary people were not allowed to enter. However, there were now thousands of people gathered here. Upon reaching this place, Lu Ming realized that this was the place to participate in the Battle of Providence. The entrance to the War of Providence was in a very mysterious place. No one could enter from other places. They had to go through a special passage. The Talisman Puppet Sect, Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Heavenly Corpse Sect, and Sky Monster Valley all had this special passage. Usually, this passage was useless and had no effect. Only when the War of Providence started, this passage would automatically activate. Whichever force you entered through the passage represented which force you participated in the War of Providence. Your future achievements would be credited to that force and luck would descend. This time, the Talisman Puppet Sect sent thousands of people to participate in the War of Providence. Other than some true geniuses, they also selected many experts with high cultivation from the younger generation. After these young experts entered, they could assist those geniuses. Moreover, who knew who would be lucky enough to obtain a great opportunity and gather great luck? No one could be sure. Therefore, there were more or less benefits to having more people enter. Lu Ming, Fatty, Ruan Tingting, Bai Qi, and Shui stood together. Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and some elders stood in front and stared at the huge round stone. Legend had it that when a force became an overlord and a ruler was born, the ancient city of Providence would fly out such a stone and descend on that force. It meant that the force was qualified to send people to participate in the War of Providence. When a force was completely weakened, this stone would automatically fly away. This also meant that the force had completely declined. Buzz. Suddenly, the round stone shook. The carvings on it started to flicker with light. A mysterious aura circulated. Chapter 899. Alright everyone, follow me. Bai Shijin shouted and stepped into the vortex. Swoosh. Swoosh. Many figures flew up and stepped into the vortex. With a flash of light, the people who stepped into the vortex disappeared. Let's go. Lu Ming and the rest followed the crowd. They flew into the vortex and disappeared. Finally, Du Songjue and a few other doyens also stepped in. With a flash of light, Lu Ming and the rest found themselves on a huge platform. It was a huge platform made of stone. There were patterns on it, and behind it was a huge wall that blocked the way out. There was a vortex above their heads. This was the spatial tunnel that they had used to enter. After Lu Ming and the rest went to participate in the battle, Bai Shijin and the rest went out from there. The direction in front seemed to be empty. It was an endless abyss, and there was a huge door of light on the other side of the abyss. That's the entrance to the Battle of Providence. Bai Shijin's voice rang out as he pointed at the door of light on the other side of the abyss. Lu Ming was surrounded by disciples of the Talisman Puppet Sect. They had gathered together. Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and the rest had also entered. The people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Heavenly Corpse Sect, and Sky Demon Valley have also arrived. Fatty said softly from the side. Lu Ming looked over. He saw the people from the other three forces on the platform. Like the Talisman Puppet Sect, all the forces had gathered together. So many people. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He found that there were more than 10,000 people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The Heavenly Corpse Sect also had close to 10,000 people. The Sky Demon Valley had fewer people, but there were still more than 3,000 people. How could this be? How could there be so many geniuses in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was considered a supreme talent. The previous list of top 1,000 talents and the recent rising supreme talents added up to less than 800 people. Including some young experts, there were at most 3,000 to 4,000 people. How could there be so many people? Tianyun, I heard that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse Sect don't have that many supreme talents and young experts. But they will train a group of men of sacrifice. Bai Qi Shui said softly. Death warriors? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right, loyalists. Do you see that group of black-robed people behind the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? And carrying all kinds of weapons? The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace uses a special method to bring out the full potential of some young people. Before the age of 30, their strength will soar crazily and enter an extremely powerful realm. But the consequence is that those young people's potential will be completely exhausted, and their lifespans will be greatly shortened. Their minds will become numb, and they will only know to obey orders without fear of death. Their goal is to participate in the battle of providence, and assist the other geniuses to obtain opportunities and providence. Bai Qi Snow explained. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. For the sake of the war of providence, these major factions could be said to have exhausted all their means. Look, those people from the Heavenly Corpse sect who are wrapped in blood-red robes are also death warriors. Our talisman puppet sect cultivates the Tao of inscription. We don't have such an outrageous secret technique, so we won't do it. The Heavenly Demon Valley's demon tribe is very arrogant and won't do it either. Therefore, there are very few of them. Bai Qi Snow said. Lu Ming nodded. He understood. These death warriors were nothing more than young people who were cultivated with a secret technique. Their bone ages were below 30 years old, and they were used to participate in the battle of providence. Lu Ming stood in the crowd and scanned the three major factions. In the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace area, he saw the 6 great ancient families and the 6 supreme martial artists. In each faction, there were dozens of young men and women who had extraordinary auras and unfathomable strength. Needless to say, these people were all at the top of the list of top 1,000 talents, or at the same level. Lu Ming was sizing them up, and they were sizing them up too. Haha, by Shijin Du Songjiue, I didn't expect the talisman puppet sect to still dare to participate in the battle of providence. Aren't you afraid that this generation of young people will die? A burst of laughter suddenly sounded from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice and recognized that it was the Wang family head, a supreme martial artist who had almost been killed by Lu Ming with the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Wang Xingtian. Bai Shijin's face darkened and he snorted coldly, not saying a word. Well, the talisman puppet sect is getting worse with each generation. If this generation of people die in there, you old fellows won't be able to hold on for long. The talisman puppet sect will be destroyed sooner or later. The Wang family head, Wang Xingtian, continued to sneer as his gaze swept across the talisman puppet sect. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He retracted his aura and moved, wanting to use the figures of others to block his body. But in the next moment he realized that a cold gaze had landed on him. It was Wang Xingtian's gaze. At this moment, Wang Xingtian's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent as he stared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you? I didn't expect you to run to the talisman puppet sect. Wang Xingtian shouted angrily. Back then, during the Battle of Nine Dragons City, he was almost smashed to death by Lu Ming using the divine nine-dragon cauldron. A prime of his generation had ended up in such a state, and he had lost all his face. He hated Lu Ming deeply. With his cultivation, even if Lu Ming changed his appearance and retracted his aura, he would still be able to see through him with a single glance. Whoosh! Whoosh! Following Wang Xingtian's voice, everyone from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace looked over at the talisman puppet sect. Lu Ming, who in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace didn't know this name. Not only the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, but the other factions also looked over. What? Lu Ming? Lu Ming is among us? Most of the people from the talisman puppet sect were shocked as they sized each other up. Bai Shijin Du Songjiue, and the others' faces darkened. Little bastard, don't think you can hide from me by hiding in the crowd. You're actually in the talisman puppet sect? Humph, let's see how you'll die. Wang Xingtian sneered. The other 5 supreme beings' eyes turned cold as they looked at Lu Ming. They had also lost face in the battle that day. 6 supreme beings had joined forces, but they still couldn't take down a junior like Lu Ming. Lu Ming? Who's Lu Ming? Bai Qi Shue's eyes widened as he scanned the surroundings. Hide? Why should I hide? What can you do to me here? Lu Ming spoke. His clear voice resounded throughout the entire place. After saying this, he strode out and arrived outside the crowd. This place was the entrance to the Battle of Providence. It was extremely mysterious and had a strong suppressive effect. The older one was, the stronger the suppression. For example, Wang Xingtian, a supreme being who had lived for thousands of years, could only display the cultivation of the spiritual embryo realm. What did he have to fear? This was something that everyone knew. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come here openly. Yan Kuangtu and Supreme Nine Sons wouldn't be at ease and didn't follow him. Once they entered this place, those experts wouldn't be able to display much of their strength. Lu Ming didn't want to be discovered at first, as he only wanted to avoid some trouble. However, since he was discovered, he might as well stand out. At this moment, everyone's eyes were gathered on Lu Ming. Tianyin? You're Lu Ming? Bai Qixue widened his eyes and was dumbfounded. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Chapter 900. It was no wonder that Tianyin was so powerful and his martial arts cultivation was so profound. It turned out that he was Lu Ming. Bai Qi could not help but recall that she often praised Lu Ming in front of him. She even said that if she wanted to find someone she liked, she should find a peerless genius like Lu Ming. Wasn't she saying it in front of Lu Ming himself? Upon thinking of this, Bai Qi's face flushed red and she felt extremely shy. This bad guy, he didn't tell me. Bai Qi's face was as red as an apple. The other young people in the Talisman Puppet sect also looked at Lu Ming in astonishment before they came to a realization. It turned out that Tianyin was Lu Ming. No wonder his talent was so high and so powerful. He was actually the Lu Ming who caused the great battle in Nine Dragons City, the one who pulled out the divine Nine Dragon Cauldron, the one who fought against the Primes, and the one who caused Martial Monarch De to intervene? No wonder. In that case, everything would make sense. Since Tianyin was Lu Ming, it would be normal for him to create those records and surpass everyone in the Talisman Puppet Sect competition to obtain first place. It was because he was Lu Ming. Little bastard, I'll kill you now. Flames danced on Wang Xingtian's body as a powerful aura burst out. However, his aura was severely suppressed, and he only had the aura of the spiritual embryo realm. Wang Xingtian, this is not Nine Dragons City. Bai Shijin stepped forward and blocked Wang Xingtian. Mental energy spread out from his glabella. Bai Shijin, your Talisman Puppet Sect dares to go against my Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace? Are you courting death? Wang Xingtian shouted with cold killing intent. He, Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace has been annexing my Talisman Puppet Sect's territory. Haven't you always been going against me? Bai Shijin sneered. You, Wang Xingtian's face turned ugly. If they were outside, he would have attacked immediately. The Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace had more primes than the Talisman Puppet Sect, and they were more than enough to defeat the Talisman Puppet Sect. However, in this place, he was unable to display the strength of a prime. Even an ordinary elder of the Talisman Puppet Sect would be able to block him. If they were to fight, the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace might suffer a great loss. Good, very good. Talisman Puppet Sect. Let's see how many people from your Talisman Puppet Sect can come out alive in this battle of karmic luck. Wang Xingtian said coldly. Then he instructed the Sky Prides of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and shouted, Everyone from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, listen up. In the Battle of Providence, if you encounter anyone from the Talisman Puppet Sect, do not show mercy. Kill. Yes. The geniuses of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace replied loudly, their eyes filled with killing intent. Also, pay special attention to Lu Ming. If you see him, you must kill him without mercy. I will reward whoever kills him handsomely. Wang Xingtian said. We must kill Lu Ming. The Sky Pride of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace replied. A cold killing intent spread out towards Lu Ming. Some powerful geniuses had unfathomable gazes. Are you Lu Ming? At this moment, a loud roar came from the direction of the Sky Monster Valley. A burly man in red armor looked coldly at Lu Ming. That's the supreme being of the Flood Dragon tribe. Someone recognized the burly man. My nephew, Aokuan, was killed by you. Good, very good. The Flood Dragon supreme being turned around and looked at the Sky Prides of the Sky Monster Valley. He shouted, This kid killed my nephew. If you see him in the Battle of Providence, kill him without mercy. I will reward whoever kills him handsomely. Haha, he's mine. I must kill him. Instantly, the Sky Prides of the Sky Monster Valley looked at Lu Ming with killing intent in their eyes. Before the Battle of Providence had even begun, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Sky Monster Valley had already targeted Lu Ming. All of them wanted to kill Lu Ming. As for the Heavenly Corpse sect, they were waiting to watch a good show. Bai Qi, Shui, Ruan Tingting, Fatty, and the others looked at Lu Ming with worried expressions. Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and the others looked solemn. They had not expected things to turn out this way. This battle would be very difficult for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's gaze was calm. He recalled that he had killed Aokuan, a sky pride of the Flood Dragon's supreme being, during the three great forces exchange in Nine Dragons City. His gaze swept across the people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Sky Monster Valley as he said, "Since you want to kill me, you must be prepared to be killed by me." His voice was also very calm, but it revealed a strong sense of confidence, as well as a sharp killing intent. "Shameless boasting. Who do you think you are? How dare you say that you will kill us?" A young man from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace sneered. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He recognized this person. Jiang Taichong. Back then, he had won the battle of the Heavenly King list, but he had been stopped by this person. This person was ranked in the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents. "Just a clown." Another voice rang out from the crowd of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Soon after, a young man walked out with a woman in his hand. Wang Yan. Lu Ming also recognized him. After the battle of the Heavenly King list, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong had stopped them. At that time, the two of them were high and mighty, looking down on Lu Ming and the others. They said that the battle of the Heavenly King list was just a child's game, and did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. Now they also did not take Lu Ming seriously. Wang Haoxian. What made Lu Ming's eyes flash was that the person Wang Yan was holding was Wang Haoxian. Wang Haoxian's face was pale. "Lu Ming, when you were in Nine Dragons City, Wang Haoxian seemed to be very close to you. This bastard dared to betray the Wang family. Although he has been punished, it is far from enough. Do you see this?" Wang Yan pointed at a collar around Wang Haoxian's neck, and said to Lu Ming. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes, but he did not speak. "This collar will explode at any time. At that time, this bastard will be crushed into pieces. This time, in the Battle of Providence, I will crush this bastard in front of you." Wang Yan said coldly. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes and he said coldly, "Wang Yan, I will kill you in the Battle of Providence." "Haha, you are indeed an adulterous couple. You want to kill me. There is no need to wait until the Battle of Providence. Lu Ming, I will make sure you can't enter the Battle of Providence." Wang Yan sneered. In an instant, the atmosphere at the scene became very heavy. The path is going to be cleared. At this moment, someone suddenly shouted. Everyone turned to look at the abyss. If they wanted to enter the light door on the other side of the abyss and participate in the Battle of Providence, they would have to cross the abyss. However, the abyss had a terrifying suction force and it was impossible to fly. If anyone tried to fly, they would definitely fall into the abyss and die on the spot. They could only wait for the path to be cleared and walk forward. At this moment, everyone saw that in front of the abyss, there were many stone platforms floating in the air and flying over. The stone platforms were only about 1 meter in radius and were separated from each other. They floated in the air above the abyss and extended to the other side, forming many paths. They would have to fly from these platforms to the other side. Soon, the paths were formed and the air above the abyss was filled with platforms. There is only 1 hour left. After that, the platforms will collapse and the path will end. Someone said. The beginning of every Battle of Providence was similar. It was just that the world behind the light door was different every time. For a moment, the 4 factions did not move. Lu Ming, I will kill you on this path. Wang Yan licked his lips with killing intent. Chapter 901. Take turns. The weak will go first. Bai Shijin and Du Songjue began to instruct. Someone from the Talisman Puppet sect started to move. Inscriptions flashed as they leaped onto the floating round platform. Then they jumped onto another round platform and moved forward. The people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley also moved. However, like the Talisman Puppet sect, they also moved in batches. The weak would go first while the strong stayed behind to restrain their opponents. If the 4 forces swarmed forward, there would definitely be a huge battle. Now was not the time for a showdown. Even if they killed their opponents now, there would not be much benefit. The showdown would only begin after entering the light door. The people from the four forces moved forward one after another. The people in front had already crossed the abyss and rushed into the light door, disappearing. Lu Ming did not move. Many people from the Sky Demon Valley and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace were staring at him with murderous intent. Time passed quickly. More and more people entered the door of light. Soon half an incense stick's time had passed. Ah! Suddenly, a horrified roar came from the abyss. Everyone looked over and saw a young man standing on a round platform. His face was filled with horror. His body seemed to be under a terrifying pressure and was crumbling inch by inch. Gu Huaxiu. Lu Ming's expression changed as he recognized the young man. Before Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing went to the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution to obtain the Heavenly Demon Fruit, they met Gu Huaxiu in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. At that time, Gu Huaxiu seemed to have been possessed by someone. They had even joined forces to fight the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution's ancestor. After not seeing him for a while, Gu Huaxiu had reached a shocking level. The aura he emitted seemed to be in the 9th layer of the spiritual sea realm. However, at this moment, he was under a terrifying suppression. Ah! He roared as green light spread out from his body. Above his head, an illusory figure appeared, struggling crazily. However, there seemed to be a terrifying force in the air that blasted towards him. No! The illusory figure let out a horrified roar. In the next moment, it collapsed with a bang. As the illusory figure collapsed, Gu Huaxiu's body also turned into ashes, disappearing forever. A mere spiritual god wants to possess someone to participate in the battle of providence? You're courting death. In the Heavenly Corpse sect, an old man sneered. Within the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, the few primes were laughing coldly. With their cultivations, they were naturally able to notice with a single glance that Gu Huaxiu had been possessed by a domain enlightened spirit god. However, the battle of providence had an age limit. Not only was there a limit to one's bone age, there was a limit to one's soul as well. If one tried to impersonate someone, it would be impossible to do so. One would be found out and killed immediately. Otherwise, overlord forces like the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect would have plenty of spiritual gods. They were fully capable of seizing the bodies of young spiritual gods and entering the battle of providence. However, they didn't do so, which was enough to explain everything. If he wanted to use a young body to sneak in, he would be courting death. Therefore, Lu Ming did not bring Dandan with him. This was just a small interlude. The four factions continued to move forward. Time was running out. Wang Yin continued to stare coldly at Lu Ming. Humph, could it be that Lu Ming is scared and doesn't plan to participate in the battle of providence? A powerful supreme talent from the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace said coldly. Given his talent, he will probably participate. Otherwise, he will never be able to compete with the other supreme talents in the future. Another person said, Humph, time is running out. I'll make a move first. A powerful supreme talent couldn't help but make a move. Lu Ming remained motionless. In the Sky Monster Valley and the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace, many supreme talents looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent and made a move. Lu Ming is mine. I'll definitely kill him. You guys make a move first. Wang Yin looked at the other supreme talents and said, All right, I'll leave him to you then. More supreme talents from the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace made a move. Their figures were like lightning as they flew toward the light gate on the other side of the abyss. Some of the 13 Zongzi candidates from the Talisman Puppet sect also made a move. Tianyan, no, Lu Ming, take care of yourself. Huanjun looked at Lu Ming and stepped forward. Fatty, you guys make a move first. Lu Ming looked at Fatty, Ruan Tingting, Bai Qi, and Shua. No, we have to make a move together. Fatty said. You guys make a move first. They can't do anything to me. If we make a move together, we'll all be in danger. Lu Ming said. In the end, Fatty and the rest had no choice but to make a move first. There were people rushing into the light gate and disappearing. 30 minutes was almost up. All the supreme talents from the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Sky Monster Valley had already entered. Wang Haoxian was also brought in by the Wang family. Lu Ming was the only one from the Talisman Puppet sect. In the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace, only Wang Yan and a dozen men of sacrifice with long swords were left. They stayed behind to deal with Lu Ming together. Apart from them, there were a few big shots left. Little bastard, let's see how you'll die. Unless you don't make a move. Wang Xingtian sneered. Bai Shijin du Songjue, and the rest looked worried. The atmosphere of the place instantly turned heavy. Time passed rapidly, and the time it took an incense stick to burn was almost up. Wang Yan waved his hand, and a few men of sacrifice rushed forward. There were 9 men of sacrifice remaining beside him. His eyes flickered, and he was ready to make a move at any time. If Lu Ming did not make a move, he would not stay here to accompany Lu Ming and miss out on the opportunity. Let's go. In the end, Wang Yan could not help but rush into the abyss. Bang! All of a sudden, one of the round platforms exploded. Time was up. Once the time was up, the round platform would explode. At this moment, Lu Ming made his move. His figure rushed toward the round platform at lightning speed. The moment Lu Ming made his move, the 9 men of sacrifice also made their move and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped on a round platform, and his figure moved forward at high speed. Just as he stepped on the round platform crumbled. Lu Ming rushed forward, racing against the speed of the round platform's collapse. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming was halfway to the abyss. Lu Ming died. At this moment, Wang Yan, who was rushing forward, suddenly turned around and punched at Lu Ming. This punch was extremely terrifying. It emitted a terrifying heat that seemed to be able to burn everything. Level 3 Essence of Heaven and Earth. Complete Spiritual Sea Realm. In an instant, Lu Ming sensed Wang Yan's strength. Wang Yan was ranked 98th on the list of top 1,000 talents. It was said that he had awakened a level 5 divine bloodline. Coupled with his cultivation at the complete spiritual sea realm and level 3 essence of heaven and earth, this punch was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming did not hesitate to unleash his dragon power. He unleashed 3 streams of dragon power at once. His body was covered with a layer of scales. He activated the Purgatory Heaven skill and punched out. Boom! With a violent tremor, Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing toward him. His body shook violently, and his body was blocked and he retreated. He retreated into the void. A terrifying gravitational force came from the abyss, trying to tear Lu Ming down. Chapter 902. At the crucial moment, Lu Ming waved his hand, and a true yuan ribbon shot forward, wrapping around a round platform. With a pull, his body flew forward. As for Wang Yan, after exchanging a punch with Lu Ming, he borrowed the force and flew forward. You guys kill him. Wang Yan's voice rang out as he ordered the men of sacrifice. He didn't dare to stay any longer, or else he would fall into the abyss. Shua! Shua! The men of sacrifice who set out first turned back and charged at Lu Ming. The other men of sacrifice did the same. The strength of these men of sacrifice was extremely terrifying. They were all at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. They weren't afraid of death and only knew how to follow orders. Xiao! A terrifying sword light burst out and slashed at Lu Ming's true yuan ribbon, while the other sword lights slashed at Lu Ming. In an instant, Lu Ming was caught in a sure-death situation. Wang Xingtian and the others all smiled. Haha, Lu Ming, go to hell. In front of him, Wang Yan laughed heartily. His figure was like lightning as he instantly dashed across the abyss and into the light door. Pung! The round platform that Lu Ming tied with his true yuan ribbon also collapsed. And in front of Lu Ming, there were still a few men of sacrifice. You're courting death. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. On the 9 dragons' bloodline, there were 4 golden chakras that were extremely dazzling. In the next few months, Lu Ming cultivated in the ferocious beast secret realm, and used the blood essence of the beasts he hunted to upgrade the 9 dragons' bloodline. He didn't upgrade the suppressing prison steel bloodline for the time being. The main reason was that if the suppressing prison steel bloodline was upgraded to the 4th level of the divine tier, the power of the suppressing prison heaven skill would be equivalent to a true low-tier divine tier martial skill. With his current true yuan, it was impossible to use it. The suppressing prison heaven skill was equivalent to the peak of the upper tier demigod tier martial skill. The consumption of true yuan was already terrifying. There was no need to upgrade it for the time being. The devouring ability of the Nine Dragons bloodline, which had reached level 4 High God realm, was extremely frightening. With a loud roar, the devouring ability of the Nine Dragons bloodline burst forth, enveloping the dozen or so men of sacrifice. Suddenly, under everyone's shocked gazes, the blood essence, blood, and true yuan of the death warriors were completely devoured, turning them into a dozen dried-up corpses. Then he took a step forward and a formation appeared in the air. Lu Ming stepped on the formation, and his body shot forward like a rocket. After flying for a while, he took another step and another array formation appeared in the void. Lu Ming repeated the same trick. He stepped on the array formation, and continued to move forward. After a few times, Lu Ming crossed the abyss and flew to the other side, arriving at the Gate of Light. At this time, all of the round platforms in the sky above the abyss had collapsed. Lu Ming slowly turned around, looking at Wang Xingtian and the others. I'll kill every single member of the Wang clan that I see. Also, the others better not provoke me. Otherwise, I'll kill them all as well. After saying this, Lu Ming turned around and stepped into the Gate of Light, disappearing from sight. That damned bastard. He can actually carve a formation in the void. How is that possible? Wang Xingtian was enraged, his eyes filled with disbelief. Carving a formation in the void was something that only a level 7 inscription master could do. How could Lu Ming be a level 7 inscription master? How could his inscription Dao be so strong? How terrifying would the combination of such a formidable Dao of inscription and a formidable cultivation in the martial Dao be? He couldn't help but worry for the Wang clan's geniuses. This time, it's still unknown who will kill who. Bai Shijin sneered. Wang Xingtian looked at Bai Shijin with a cold gaze and said, "Your talisman puppet sect is really bold to protect Lu Ming, and even give him resources for his cultivation. Just wait for the Emperor Sky Divine Palace's revenge." Without the help of the talisman puppet sect, he didn't believe that Lu Ming's inscription Dao could reach such a level. "I'll keep you company." Bai Shijin was extremely tough. After saying that, he moved and left through the teleportation vortex. Du Songjue and the rest did the same. After that, the people from the Emperor Sky Divine Palace, Sky Corp sect, and Sky Demon Valley left through the teleportation vortex and returned to their respective sections. The Battle of Providence would last for a year. In the end, if the ancient city of Providence could appear, the final battle would be held and the final ranking would be determined. Providence would then descend from the ancient city of Providence. Now the people outside had to wait. Lu Ming stepped into the light door. In the next moment, he realized that he had appeared in a forest. Ancient trees towered into the sky. At a glance, they were all trees that could only be hugged by a dozen people. What a rich spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Also, the intent realm I can sense here is so clear. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock when he sensed it. He realized that the spiritual chi of heaven and earth here was unimaginably rich. It was almost tangible. The milky white mist in the surroundings was formed by the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. A casual breath of the spiritual chi of heaven and earth here was equivalent to the sum of the spiritual chi of a supreme-grade spiritual crystal. Moreover, the intent realm here was also very clear. It was dozens of times clearer than the outside world. Cultivating in such an environment would allow one's cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. This was simply a sacred place for cultivation. It was no wonder that everyone wanted to participate in the Battle of Providence. Even if there were no other opportunities, just cultivating here for a year was a great opportunity. Let's refine the blood essence energy first. Lu Ming immediately waved his fingers and engraved a large array around him. His fingertips emitted a blue spiritual fire. Lu Ming was still a level 6 inscriber and had not broken through to level 7. When he was at the observatory, he had lit up 9 blue spiritual lights. A few months later, he had successfully lit up the 10th blue spiritual light. He was now at level 6 and had attained perfection. All 6 levels were at perfection. How strong was his spiritual fire? How strong was his spiritual power? It was even stronger than some inscribers who had just broken through to level 7. Therefore, when Lu Ming was at level 6, he could perform an array in the void and engrave the array in the void. This was not something that Wang Xingtian had expected. He had thought that Lu Ming was a level 7 inscriber. In an instant, a huge illusory array was engraved. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and began to refine the blood essence and vital essence of the men of sacrifice that he had just devoured. However, as soon as he refined them, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes. There was shock in his eyes. This time, he realized that the 9 dragons' bloodline had not only devoured blood essence, vital essence and blood, but also intent runes. Yes, the 9 dragons' bloodline had devoured the intent runes of the men of sacrifice. There are wind intent, fire intent, and water intent. Can the 9 dragons' bloodline devour intent runes and refine them for its own use? At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart began to pound. If that was the case, it would be too heaven-defying. Intent runes were different from blood essence, vital essence, and other energies. Intent runes were comprehended. How could they be devoured and refined? Lu Ming found it hard to believe. Let's try and find out. Chapter 903. Half an hour later, Lu Ming opened his eyes. In addition to shock, there was also ecstasy in his eyes. He could really refine them. Lu Ming discovered that in addition to blood essence, blood, true essence, and other energies, he could also refine concept runes. Although the concept rune could not be completely refined and a large part of it would be lost in the refining process, there was still a part of it that was integrated into Lu Ming's own concept rune. In an instant, Lu Ming's comprehension of the concept improved by leaps and bounds, and increased rapidly. This feeling was incomparably mysterious and difficult to describe in words. After refining the concept runes of more than 10 men of sacrifice, his wind and fire concepts improved by a large margin. And because he did not comprehend the concept of water, Lu Ming let those water concept runes dissipate. Lu Ming's mood at this moment could be described as ecstasy. If he could even devour concept runes and use them for himself, then wouldn't his cultivation advance by leaps and bounds in the future? Ha ha. Lu Ming could not help but laugh out loud. So what if he comprehended many concepts? The more he comprehended, the faster his cultivation would be. Lu Ming's heart began to become active. He pondered if he should comprehend other concepts. Otherwise, it would be a waste to devour them. Forget it, I'll look at them later. It's not wise to comprehend new concepts now. It will hinder my cultivation speed. I'll consider it after the Battle of Providence is over. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Now was not the time to be impulsive. There were great opportunities in the Battle of Providence. Moreover, in such an environment, others' cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. If he comprehended new concepts now, even with the 9 dragons bloodline, his cultivation would not advance for a period of time. In the Battle of Providence, it was unwise to fall one step behind and keep falling behind. What is this place? Immediately Lu Ming observed. He flew up into the air and looked around. All around him were endless mountains and ancient trees that towered into the sky. Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and flew forward. There are quite a lot of spiritual herbs here. After flying for a while, Lu Ming discovered a few stalks of spirit herbs growing on a cliff. There were a total of 3 stalks. They were the 6th grade high-grade spirit herb, the origin returning grass. Lu Ming flew down and with a wave of his hand, his true essence swept out and plucked the 3 stalks of origin returning grass. As soon as Lu Ming plucked the origin returning grass, a sudden glow appeared in front of him, followed by the appearance of a jade book. This jade book only had 2 pages, and there was a line of words on the cover. Luck points 3. This is the Book of Fate. Lu Ming's eyes moved as he secretly marveled. It was said that the War of Providence was extremely mysterious. The first year was not only the time to search for opportunities, raise one's cultivation level, but also the time to accumulate providence. Yes, accumulating providence. During the Battle of Providence, if one could find any relics, treasures, or inheritances of experts, not only would they obtain great opportunities, but they would also gain providence. During this period, Even if one found a stalk of spiritual herb or a piece of precious material, they would accumulate providence. Some people were lucky and might casually find a treasure, obtain an inheritance, and obtain a huge amount of providence. Every person who participated in the battle of karmic luck would condense a book of karmic luck the first time they obtained karmic luck. The amount of karmic luck you accumulated, whether it was strong or weak, would all be converted into karmic luck and displayed on the book of karmic luck. It was said that providence was not only of great use to oneself. In the end, if one obtained enough providence, it would even be of great use to one's family and friends. It could make one's family and friends' providence stronger, and even their talent stronger. It would also be of great use to one's sect. It was said that the one who would benefit the most was most likely the sect master of one's sect. This was also why the various major factions attached great importance to the War of Providence, and did not hesitate to open up various cultivations sacred grounds to nurture young geniuses. Providence was a mysterious thing, but it was extremely mysterious. In short, it had endless uses, and the more the better. Some people guessed that it might be a type of energy, an extremely mysterious energy. Moreover, if one hunted and killed the accumulated providence of others, one could also take a portion of their providence. Therefore, in the end of the War of Providence, there was bound to be a bloody massacre to seize the providence of others. Boom. Suddenly, there was a rumble in front of him, as if someone was fighting. Lu Ming restrained his aura and rushed over. When he was not far away, Lu Ming rushed up a big tree and hid among the branches, looking ahead. This is... At a glance, Lu Ming's pupils suddenly constricted in shock. In front of him, there were two tall and burly creatures covered in black scales besieging a human genius. The two creatures had two horns on their heads, and an eye between their eyebrows. Lu Ming was too familiar with such creatures. The three-eyed divine tribe. This was actually the three-eyed divine tribe that Lu Ming had encountered on a small island in the heaven realm. How was this possible? Why would he encounter the three-eyed divine tribe here? Could this be the heaven realm? Lu Ming was greatly shocked. The two three-eyed divine tribe members were both at the 7th level of the spiritual sea realm, while the human genius was at the 5th level of the spiritual sea realm. He was no match for the two three-eyed divine tribe members at all. He roared repeatedly, but it was useless as he was completely suppressed. Swoosh! The third eyes of the two three-eyed divine tribe members shot out two beams of light. One was a beam of light flickering with lightning, and the other was a beam of light flickering with fire. The two beams of light pierced through the void and killed the genius. Lu Ming did not appear to save him. Unless it was someone from the Talisman Puppet sect, otherwise, two of the other three forces wanted to kill Lu Ming, and the other was the Heavenly Corpse sect, which also had a great grudge with Lu Ming. Why would Lu Ming make a move? These humans have appeared again. They will appear once every 20 years. Let's go back and report to the leader. One of the three-eyed divine tribe members said. Then the two three-eyed divine tribe members soared into the sky and left. Lu Ming flew out, and the power of devouring erupted, devouring the energy of the human genius. From their tone, the three-eyed divine tribe members should be here permanently, and should be very familiar with this area. If I want to find treasures, cave dwellings of experts, and so on, I don't know how long it would take to wander around blindly. Obtaining information from these three-eyed divine tribe members is the best choice. With this thought, Lu Ming's figure moved, and he chased in the direction of the two three-eyed divine tribe members. After more than 10,000 miles, Lu Ming saw the other three-eyed divine tribe members in a mountain forest. There were a total of 11 people, and it was obviously a small team. The two three-eyed divine tribe members from before were reporting something to an especially burly three-eyed divine tribe member. The strongest should be at the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. Kill. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes, and he rushed out. Xiao! Xiao! With a wave of his hand, more than 10 spears instantly condensed and pierced towards the three-eyed divine tribe members. Pooh! Pooh! Immediately, 7 of the weaker three-eyed divine tribe members were pierced by Lu Ming's spears, and they were killed on the spot. Chapter 904. Human, you deserve to die. A three-eyed god race member in the 9th layer of the spiritual sea realm roared. A golden light beam shot out from his eyes like a sharp sword, piercing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming struck out with a palm and scattered the light beam. Such powerful power. Lu Ming's eyes moved. He discovered that these three-eyed god race members were very strong, generally stronger than humans, and even comparable to some human geniuses. Lu Ming didn't believe that the other party was a genius from the three-eyed god race. It seemed that he was just an ordinary three-eyed god race member. Lu Ming shattered the light beam and stepped forward, circulating the suppressing hell heaven skill. He struck a palm on the three-eyed god race member. A large part of the three-eyed god race member's body suddenly caved in. His burly body was sent flying for thousands of meters, without any signs of life. Retreat. The remaining three-eyed god race members saw that Lu Ming killed their leader in one move, and immediately knew that they met an opponent that they couldn't defeat. They roared and fled separately. Want to leave? Stay. Nine Dragons Heaven Stomping Step. He instantly caught up with another expert in the 9th layer of the spiritual sea realm, and struck out with a palm. This time Lu Ming didn't kill. He only heavily injured the three-eyed god race member, and then chased after the other two. Cultivating in the ferocious beast secret realm for several months, Lu Ming had improved in all aspects. The 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Step was cultivated to the 6th step, and its power was comparable to the peak level of high-grade demigod martial arts. His speed was extremely fast. Not long after, the remaining 2 three-eyed god race members were injured by him. He threw the 3 three-eyed god race members together. Now what do I ask you? What do you answer? Do you understand? Lu Ming glanced at the 3 three-eyed god race members. Don't even think about it, human. Kill me if you want. Don't expect me to say a word. One of the three-eyed god race members roared. Is that so? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. The 9 Dragons bloodline appeared and opened its mouth. Devouring power erupted and enveloped the three-eyed god race member. The three-eyed god race member immediately wailed. And then his body rapidly shriveled up, turning into a dried corpse. All the essence was devoured by the 9 Dragons bloodline. Seeing this terrifying scene, the remaining 2 members of the three-eyed god tribe trembled in fear. Their eyes were filled with fear. What about you guys? Lu Ming looked at the remaining 2 members of the three-eyed divine race. Tell me, I'll tell you. I'll tell you anything you want to know. One of them shouted. Me too. The other one quickly nodded. All right, let me ask you, where is this place? Are we in the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked. Heaven realm? I don't know. I was born here. According to the clan's legends, we've been living here for countless years. One of the three-eyed divine race said. Don't know? Lu Ming frowned. I once saw it in an ancient book of my clan. According to the ancient book, our ancestors didn't seem to have lived here in the beginning. They seem to have been captured by someone and brought to this place. Later on they couldn't leave, so they continued to live here and reproduce our clan. The other member of the three-eyed divine race was startled when he saw Lu Ming frown. He answered in a trembling voice. Your ancestors were captured and brought here? Lu Ming was even more puzzled. That's right. Moreover, we don't know when it started, but every 20 years, young humans would descend and hunt our clan. After a period of time, they would all disappear again. One of the three-eyed divine race said. Every 20 years, there will be young people from the human clan descending. That should be the Battle of Providence. However, the location of the Battle of Providence is different every time. Those who come and go should be from other regions, or even other continents overseas. Lu Ming guessed. Are there any strange places around here? Lu Ming asked. Yes, there are some strange places. Some places are very dangerous, and our clan doesn't dare to enter. Some places, as soon as we enter, will be killed. The three-eyed divine race answered. Do you have a map? Lu Ming asked. Yes, there's a map in our captain's storage ring. Now that we've said what we need to say, can you let us go? One of the three-eyed divine race members asked cautiously. Let you go? When did I say that I would let you go? Lu Ming sneered. With a wave of his hand, 2 spear lights flew out and killed 2 of the three-eyed divine race members. Then he controlled the 9 dragons bloodline to devour the blood essence energy of the three-eyed divine race members. Then 11 storage rings appeared in his hand. At this time, Lu Ming's heart moved. A jade book flew out from between his eyebrows. It was the Book of Providence. Some words appeared on it. Killing a three-eyed divine race member gave him 313 luck points. Lu Ming's total luck points had become 316 points. Killing the three-eyed divine tribe actually gives me luck points, and so many of them at that? Lu Ming was shocked. He only got 2 or 3 luck points after obtaining 3 6th-grade spirit herbs. He didn't expect that killing 11 three-eyed divine race members would give him so many luck points. Then his figure flashed and he left this place. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged, refining the blood essence and energy. The three-eyed divine race members also cultivated the concept of heaven and earth. The light beam shot out from their third eye was condensed from the concept of heaven and earth, and a different kind of energy from true yuan. It was extremely powerful. Among the 11 members of the three-eyed divine clan, there were those who had comprehended the thunder concept and fire concept. A part of the rune of the heaven and earth concept was integrated into Lu Ming's rune. Lu Ming's understanding of the thunder concept and fire concept increased again. Thunder and fire concepts have already reached the limit of second-level perfection. I'm only one step away from third level. Wind concept is about the same. As for earth concept, I haven't reached the peak of second-level completion. My current cultivation can only reach the peak of the 8th level of the spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming thought. His current cultivation was at the peak of the 8th level of the spiritual sea realm. After refining, Lu Ming took out the storage rings he got from the three-eyed divine race members and looked at them one by one. There were some miscellaneous things inside. Lu Ming put them all together. In one of the storage rings, Lu Ming found a map and opened it. There are several strange places within 1,000,000 miles. I should take a look at these places. First, I'll go to the Demon Tree Canyon that's closest to here. Lu Ming looked for a while and made a decision. The Demon Tree Canyon was tens of thousands of miles away. It was the closest. Keeping the map, Lu Ming rose into the air and flew towards the Demon Tree Canyon. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Demon Tree Canyon. In front of him, there was a huge canyon filled with fog. It was hazy. Lu Ming's moving figure suddenly stopped. At the entrance of the Demon Tree Canyon, he saw a group of figures. They were all young people from the outside world. There were people from the Heavenly Corpse sect, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, and even the demon race from the Sky Demon Valley. The three parties stopped at the entrance of the canyon and seemed to be looking inside. Hearing the movement, everyone turned around and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you? A cold shout sounded. Di Feng. Chapter 905. Lu Ming saw Di Feng in the crowd. Di Feng, ranked 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, was the descendant of Martial Emperor Di. Seeing Lu Ming, Di Feng's eyes flashed with a murderous intent. At the same time, the demons from Sky Monster Valley also looked at him coldly. Lu Ming, Wang Yan said that he wanted to keep you outside, but he didn't succeed. Since you're wanted by Martial Emperor Ancestor, I can cripple you and bring you to Martial Emperor Ancestor. It'll be a great achievement. Di Feng's body emitted a powerful qi. His body emitted a sharp sword qi. I've said it before. If you want to kill me, you'll have to be prepared to be killed by me. Since you're the descendant of Di, I'll collect some interest first. Lu Ming's eyes darkened. Kill. Di Feng waved his hand and 7 figures pounced out from behind him. The 7 figures were all men of sacrifice in black robes and carrying long swords on their backs. In fact, there were about 20 people from Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, but there were more than a dozen men of sacrifice. The rest were young geniuses. Obviously, Di Feng was the leader. The 7 men of sacrifice were all at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. The 7 of them worked together to form a perfect battle formation and attacked Lu Ming. Swoosh. Swoosh. The sword qi and sword radiance were like a net, enveloping Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming struck out with his palm, shattering the sword radiance. The powerful palm force made the 7 men of sacrifice vomit blood and fly backward. Devour. Lu Ming clenched his left hand, and a terrifying devouring power burst out. The 7 men of sacrifice could not control their bodies and were devoured by Lu Ming. Their blood essence, genuine origin, and intent runes were all devoured by Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, they were turned into 7 dried corpses. Everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment. Devouring people directly into dried corpses. This scene was too strange. What a domineering demonic skill. A genius from Heavenly Corpse sect shouted in horror. The cultivation methods practiced by the Heavenly Corpse sect were all evil and powerful. Some cultivation methods could also turn people into mummies, but the speed was definitely not this fast. It was too overbearing. Evil cultivators should be beheaded. Di Feng said coldly, his killing intent sharp. Clang. Di Feng stepped out as a terrifying sword might exploded forth. A beam of golden sword chi violently slashed towards Lu Ming. 4 kinds of intents surrounded him. Lu Ming struck with his palm, colliding with the golden sword gleam. Boom. An earth-shattering roar resounded, and the golden sword light dissipated. Lu Ming, you have some skills, but you're still too inexperienced to fight me. Di Feng roared as a golden battle sword appeared above his head. This battle sword had a golden dragon coiling around its hilt. Boundless sword light emitted from it. There were 4 golden chakras floating around the sword. 4th level divine level bloodline. Monarch sword, the unique bloodline of the Di clan. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. According to legend, the bloodline of the Di clan, led by Martial Emperor Di, was the monarch sword. Of course, the same bloodline had different levels. Some had 1st level divine level bloodline, while others had 2nd level divine level bloodline. The power was also different. Today I'll kill you. Di Feng's cold voice resounded. His body turned into light and merged with the monarch sword. Instantly, sword chi soared into the sky. With a move of the monarch sword, the wind and clouds were split in half. The terrifying battle sword slashed towards Lu Ming's head, wanting to split him in half. Di Feng was indeed very strong. His cultivation was at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm, and the cultivation method he practiced was undoubtedly a divine level technique. With the addition of the 4th level divine level bloodline, the power he could unleash was extremely terrifying. He could definitely fight against an expert at the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. However, Lu Ming's current battle power was far beyond the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. Boom. Lu Ming directly unleashed a beam of dragon power, and scales appeared. He circulated the suppressing Hell Heaven skill, and punched towards the battle sword. Clang! A melodious sound rang out. The monarch sword vibrated continuously, and was sent flying. The others were shocked. Di Feng, ranked 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch. How could Lu Ming's battle power be so terrifying? Could it be that his strength had already surpassed Di Feng's? Kill. Lu Ming strode forward, clenching his fist and punching towards the monarch's sword again. Sword of execution. Di Feng's angry roar came from the monarch's sword. The sword power was vast, and the murderous intent was fierce as it rushed towards Lu Ming. Clang. The sword and fist collided, and the monarch's sword vibrated even more violently. Clang. Clang. Lu Ming punched again. The monarch's sword vibrated continuously, and the sword power on the sword weakened continuously. Bang. Finally, the monarch's sword exploded, revealing Di Feng's figure. At this moment, his face was full of fear and disbelief. Lu Ming's battle power had actually surpassed his in all aspects. How could this be? He simply could not accept it. Back at the exchange meet in Nine Dragon City, although Lu Ming was strong, Di Feng was 100% confident that he could kill Lu Ming. During this period, his cultivation had improved again, but he was no match for Lu Ming, and was defeated by Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming's cultivation speed be so terrifying? So what if your cultivation is higher than mine? You're too weak to withstand a single blow. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he strode towards Di Feng. Swoosh. Without hesitation, Di Feng turned into a ray of sword light and flew towards another direction, frantically escaping. Although there were many people at the mouth of the canyon, Di Feng knew that no one could stop Lu Ming. If he stayed, he would definitely be killed by Lu Ming. You want to leave? Have you asked for my permission? Lu Ming stepped out and chased after Di Feng like a ray of light. Di Feng was terrified. He took out a LV7 spiritual weapon, but Lu Ming broke it into two with a punch. Boom. Lu Ming's punch pierced through the void, causing Di Feng to spit out a mouthful of blood. Di Feng was even more terrified as he ran for his life. At this moment, a ray of purple light was rushing towards him. Wang Yan. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. That figure was actually Wang Yan. Wang Yan saved me. Seeing Wang Yan, Di Feng was overjoyed as he rushed towards Wang Yan. Lu Ming, you're actually not dead. Wang Yan was shocked when he saw Lu Ming. Previously, when he was crossing the abyss, he had given Lu Ming a fatal blow and even ordered his men of sacrifice to snipe Lu Ming. In that situation, the round platform had already collapsed. He concluded that Lu Ming had fallen into the abyss and died. Now that he saw Lu Ming, he was naturally shocked. Whoosh! Wang Yan was like a ray of purple light as he instantly crossed the void and appeared in front of Di Feng. Lu Ming, you're really lucky. Alright, since that's the case, let me finish you off personally. Purple flames danced on Wang Yan's body. With Wang Yan as the center, it formed a black hole. In that place, other than him, everything else seemed to have been burned. I've said that I'll definitely kill you. Now that I've met you, it's just nice. Lu Ming did not stop as he pounced towards Wang Yan. Compared to Di Feng, he wanted to kill Wang Yan more. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.